It's time once again to turn back the clock and take a look at Swindon from a time gone by. More Swindon through the years, comparing the images from the past with those of a modern Swindon. And this time we're turning back the clock to the 1990s. It was boom time for Swindon, expansion, conversion and improvements, all captured by the Swindon cable cameras for the weekly news programme This is Swindon. We now look back at some of those images, capturing a town in transition, frozen in time, in more Swindon through the years. Delving into the Swindon Cable Archive, we're turning back the clock to 1994. Another look at Swindon through the years. Our images take us to Swindon's Theatre Square, and this was one of the first places developed in the town centre, reflecting modern progress. The images show the Shoebox Theatre, in the building that was built to house the town centre post office. Facing it, one of the town's nightclubs. How many names can you remember from across the years? Perhaps Bubbles or New York, New York. Of course, the main attraction in the area is the 635-seat Wyvern Theatre. The town's main theatre was opened by Her Majesty the Queen on the 7th of September 1971. The Wyvern was opened as part of the first stage of Swindon's £7.5 million civic centre, as this area was then known. It included a techno exhibition centre, a citizens' information bureau, a bar, discotheque, shops and offices. Unfortunately, the area hasn't been well maintained. So let's turn back our clock to 1994. Not too much has changed in our view as we compare the images from the past with those of today. We do notice, however, that the large Wyvern disappears from view. The Wyvern was a mythical beast, similar to a dragon, which was once thought to be the emblem of the kings of Wessex. And although it's disappeared from the sidewall, it hasn't gone completely. It's been moved to a much more prominent position overlooking Theatre Square. I wonder just how many thousands of theatre goers have passed through the doors since its opening. The area has certainly fallen far from grace since then. The theatre was owned and originally run by the council, Thamesdown Borough Council, but the local authority struggled to keep the theatre alive on dwindling budgets. The time perhaps being right for a replacement. Very little has changed across the years. It's the branding and signage that represents the most noticeable changes. Over the years, the Wyvern has attracted criticism for being too small a venue to attract major stars of today and large touring shows. It will certainly be interesting to see what the future holds. And whilst we're in the area, here's a view of the demolished Wyvern Car Park. Our 1994 views show the open-air Islington Street car park next to the Wyvern Car Park. The debate continues, of course, about using this site for a possible new museum and art gallery. town centre location looks ripe for redevelopment. The car parks in this area are popular with theatre goers and shoppers alike. Fascinating to see the range of cars back in 1994. There have of course been many changes in this area, with the former Nationwide Building Society offices to the right now converted to apartments. The modern view shows that the multi-storey Wyvern Car Park, built in 1972, was demolished in 2016. The replacement, the Whale Bridge multi-storey, can be seen in the top right of the picture, completed in 2014. The demolition and replacement of car parks is all part of the major reshaping of the Princess Street and Fleming Way areas of the town centre, which one day could see this site, if plans come to fruition, become what is being called the Cultural Quarter. And here's a reminder of just how things looked when you went to buy a parking ticket 25 years ago. And here's the modern view, taken in the same location, showing brand new parking machines and modern signs. Interesting to note, and as you might expect, it's a tad more expensive to park today. Back in 1994, it would have cost you 40 pence to park for an hour. Today, it will cost you £1.20. The demolition of the Wyvern Car Park has probably created one of the ugliest views in Swindon. The car park formerly masked the buildings of the BT Exchange. The other feature to disappear in this area was one of the town's few footbridges. As a youngster, I always used to cross Princess Street on my way to school at Clarence over the bridge that was demolished as part of a maintenance cost-cutting exercise. This area fronts onto Swindon's Magistrates Court. And it's amazing to think that once upon a time, this area was covered in Victorian brick houses. A residential area where people once lived now plays host to supporting shopping and leisure activities. It will be interesting to see if the plans to transform this area into the Cultural Quarter ever come to fruition. It will certainly make a fascinating comparison in future Swindon through the years. We've featured this town centre location before in Swindon through the years. Situated in the very heart of town, just off Regent Street, we're in College Street, and a 1994 view shows it's the home of the Leeds Building Society. And here's the town's other branch at the top of Regent Street in Regent Circus. Clearly a popular building society for Swindonians. So let's start the time machine up and take a look at the views as we compare them to a more modern view of the same location. The same building, but with a different use, this time a local charity. The Cats Protection League making use of the building. The Leeds long since gone. Although now, even the Cats Protection charity has left. Same locations, different signs. Same building, different use. And the passing of time has had its effect on the building in College Street too. Today it's a charity shop, this time run by the ever-popular Prospect Foundation. In fact, this is just one of the many charity shops that Prospect has across the town. And once again they show just how the town changes under our noses, how local business trends can affect just how the high street looks. And in the future, who knows? Back in 1994, no one could have predicted the meteoric rise of shopping online and the effect that would have on town centres across the country. Here's a modern view of Swindon's bustling bus station. Local and national services depart from here, and even though I'm calling them modern images, they've captured Swindon's buses still being branded as Thames Down Transport in 2017. The name has now disappeared, becoming Swindon's Bus Company. These more modern buildings replaced, for what was for 14 years, a temporary bus station on the same site. The original bus station on the site operated from a number of single-storey buildings and opened in September 1967. In fact, the temporary buildings were situated where the Allied Dunbar Tri-Centre was later built. The modern bus station built slightly further away from the town, but in the same general area. Here are our views from 1994. They show, to the left, the Carfax Street multi-storey car park, which has since been demolished. They also show a footbridge that took motorists from the car park into town over the buses. The more modern views show the car park and the footbridge have all disappeared. The Swindon and District Bus Company has also gone, being swallowed up by Stagecoach, the company operating services nationally. In a quarter of a century, very little has changed at Swindon's bus station apart from the buses themselves. Services still operate from the same bays that were installed when the new bus station was built. There's a constant flow of buses ferrying people in and out of town. And whilst the bus station remains in the same place, the depot that these buses operate from has changed. The Stagecoach buses were based at the top of Escott Hill, but now operate from a depot on the Cheney Manor estate. Originally, the Corporation buses and trams were based in Corporation Street, but that's now moved to Barnfield. Thames Down buses finally disappeared long after the name of the borough had changed. Swindon's Bus Company now operates these services. The area under the old Carfax Street multi-storey provided parking for buses. The more modern view shows the buses stored out in the open. Interesting to think that these views of Thames Down Transport buses have been consigned to history. We'll have more Swindon Through the Years coming soon, but in the meantime, please do remember, like, comment and share. We'd like to hear your memories of a changing town. And look out, more Swindon Through the Years coming soon.